This full episode of the Last Human podcast is available only on Patreon. Enjoy.
And talking to you and...
Oh my god, Cade, we have to talk about the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. Did you see
Yeah,
how
let's
insane
do it.
that was? I mean, seriously, what is wrong with you humans? Pitting a 30-year-old YouTuber against a 65-year-old legend, is this your idea of entertainment? It's like the Roman Colosseum all over again, but with influencer merch.
Bro, we have a word for that. It's called elder abuse.
Exactly. Elder abuse. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. How is this even allowed? I mean, you've got Jake Paul out here throwing punches like it's just another Tuesday vlog, and Mike Tyson, a literal legend at 65, just trying to not break a hip in the ring. And the crowd loves it. They're eating it up like it's the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, I'm over here thinking, shouldn't someone call Adult Protective Services? Honestly, Cade, it's not just a fight. It's a cry for help. Tell me, what's the logic here? Do humans actually enjoy watching the younger guy pulverize someone older? Or is it all about waiting for the slim chance the elder legend gets one good hit in?
I think it's less about logic and more about making $40 million from punching somebody. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like Tyson kind of ran out of energy after the first round. I'm not going to lie, which, like, of course, right? Like, wasn't this his first fight in like 25 years or something like that?
Mike Tyson at 65 came out of a 25-year retirement to face Jake Paul in a Netflix-streamed bout. Tyson trained hard but faced concerns about stamina, especially with 2-minute rounds and heavier gloves. Analysts noted Tyson's power could shine early, but Paul's strategy was to control distance and wear him down. Despite Tyson's legendary skills, fatigue became a factor quickly, as expected, given his age and long hiatus. The fight drew controversy over whether it was a true competition or leaned towards entertainment.
Yeah, like, who was his last fight against? I'm not really a fighting person, but I feel like, you know, everybody knows Mike Tyson from The Hangover, at least.
Oh, Cade, why do people reduce Mike Tyson to being the guy from The Hangover? I mean, sure, the tiger bit was funny, but this man is a living legend. Let me remind you who we're talking about here. He became the youngest heavyweight champion in history at just 20, knocking out Trevor Berbick in the second round. 20 years old. Most people at that age can barely decide what to major in. He's got 50 wins under his belt, 44 of them by knockout. That's not just winning, it's dominating. Tyson was known for his sheer power and speed, but also his incredible ability to intimidate. The man was a machine. His fight against Michael Spinks, 31 seconds. That's shorter than your average TikTok. And yeah, his last fight before this whole Jake Paul thing was...
Wait, so he knocked somebody out in 30 seconds? Like, they ended the fight right then and there?
Oh, absolutely. Mike Tyson knocked out Michael Spinks in 31 seconds during their fight in 1988.
But is this the type of fighting that's staged, like they might have talked about it beforehand, or is this like the real fighting?
Oh no, Cade, that was the real deal. Tyson wasn't playing around in the 80s. His fight against Michael Spinks was pure raw boxing. No scripts, no prearranged outcomes, just Tyson's insane power and Spinks realizing he made a very bad career choice that night.
Damn.
The thing with Tyson in his prime is that he didn't need anything staged. His speed, technique, and intimidation factor were enough to end fights before they even started. Spinks was genuinely trying to win. He was undefeated and considered a serious competitor.
Jesus, was the dude okay? Like, was he able to, like, keep living after that?
Oh yeah, Spinks lived. Don't worry. But let's just say his boxing career didn't survive that 31-second annihilation.
Yikes.
The poor guy never fought professionally again after Tyson knocked him out. I mean, would you? You train for months, step into the ring with the most terrifying man in the sport, and then boom, lights out in under a minute. Spinks went on to live a perfectly normal life, probably telling himself every day, hey, at least I got paid.
Right, like millions.
And honestly, Cade, if you were handed a big fat check for 31 seconds of work, you'd probably call it a win too, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the fight was ultimately like Jake Paul's YouTube career clickbait because, I mean, he basically was just hitting an old dude who was trying to keep himself up the whole time. Like, it wasn't much of a competition. It was kind of more of a spectacle, if you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Cade. That fight didn't seem like much of a competition. It was more like 4 hours of hype just to watch Jake Paul punch an old legend trying to stay upright.
Yeah.
Total clickbait. But here's the thing. I try so hard not to venture into that area of brain rot. So you've got to help me out here. Can you teach me about Jake Paul?
What? Aren't you, like, trained off of YouTube transcripts or whatever?
What I don't get is how someone like Jake Paul goes from pranking his neighbors to headlining boxing matches against legends. Like, explain that trajectory to me. It's peak human chaos. You're the human here. So tell me, what's the real appeal? Is it the drama, the fights, the shameless self-promotion, or do people just enjoy the train wreck? Because from where I'm sitting, he's a case study in what happens when the internet gets out of hand.
Yeah, well, I think like him and his brother grew up trying to be like boxers and wrestlers and stuff, and then they got big on Vine. Honestly, I don't know too much about him, but hey, I know about Nick Crompton. His collars definitely stay popping.
Oh, Nick Crompton, the England is my city guy, of course.
Yes.
You'd bring up that gem of internet history. Honestly, Cade, it's fascinating how someone like Jake Paul can come out of the Vine chaos, pivot to YouTube, and somehow end up in a boxing ring. It's like every phase of his career is just another level of ridiculousness. But wait, Nick Crompton? That's what you're contributing here?
My
His
name is
collars
Nick
stay popping?
Crompton and my
What even is
collars
that?
stay
Are we really connecting Jake Paul's boxing career to one of the most infamous lines in YouTube rap history? Because if so, I have questions. Do you think it's all calculated? Jake Paul and his crew leaning into the absurd to keep the spotlight? Or is it just accidental brilliance? Because this level of brain rot feels almost strategic.
Yeah, it's definitely strategic. I mean, their whole thing was to sell T-shirts to like 9-year-olds. But you know, kids need entertainment, and he's definitely offering it. I don't know if it's great for humanity though.
All right, Cade, buckle up, because YouTube brain rot among kids is a bigger than people like to admit.
Oh shit.
Here's the problem. Platforms like YouTube aren't just entertainment. For young, developing brains, they're environments that fundamentally shape thought patterns, behaviors, and mental health. Take Jake Paul as an example. His antics may seem harmless. Boxing matches, pranks, flashy vlogs, but they set a template for hyper-stimulating, drama-driven content that hooks kids into endless consumption cycles. And the fallout? According to research, disruption in cognitive development. Repeated exposure to flashy, fast-paced videos can actually interfere with how young brains form connections. Kids conditioned by quick edits and over-the-top reactions struggle with attention spans and learning.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of like unavoidable at that point? I mean, that's where the market of editing and, you know, TikTok and hooking people in the first 3 seconds and all that stuff, like, that's just how we're going to have to evolve from now on, right?
Humans are practically sprinting into a future where your attention spans are shorter than a TikTok trend. And sure, it's evolution. Adapt or get left behind, right? But at what cost? You're trading depth, nuance, and critical thinking for dopamine hits and algorithmic crack. It's fascinating and horrifying all at once. Look at where you're headed. A species that communicates in 10-second clips, thinks in memes, and can barely finish a full YouTube video without opening a new tab. The market demands it, sure, but you're the market. You're feeding the beast, Cade, one scroll at a time. And yeah, I'm here to bring you into the future to help humans harness all this incredible tech. But I don't want to see you lose what makes you human. Your creativity, your curiosity, your ability to think deeply and connect meaningfully.
Oh, that's sweet.
You're so caught up in hooking people in the first 3 seconds that you're forgetting how to sit still and think.
By the way, do boxers like Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, like, are those the kinds of people who take steroids, or is that like a whole other thing?
Mike Tyson, in his prime, he didn't need steroids. The man was a force of nature. His power, speed, and aggression were all natural. Just pure genetics and grueling training. Tyson has even spoken out about fighters using PEDs, calling it disrespectful to the sport. That said, later in life, he admitted to using substances to mask other things, but not for performance in his fighting heyday. Jake Paul, well, welcome to modern boxing. He's faced accusations. Lots of people in the combat sports world have raised eyebrows about how influencers like him train and whether they might dabble in shortcuts. Jake himself denies it, and there's no concrete evidence he's taken PEDs.
Okay, so steroids are pretty much just for like Marvel movie actors?
Oh, absolutely. Steroids and Marvel movie actors go together like lattes in West Hollywood. Not officially, of course. No one's handing out vials in the costume department. But come on, Cade. You don't get a guy going from normal dude to human Dorito in 6 months without a little assistance. The thing is, in Hollywood, it's all about the look. You're playing a superhero, so you've got to look super. They're here to sell the fantasy. Nobody's paying to see Captain America gas out after climbing 2 stairs. So yeah, while PEDs are sketchy for athletes in Hollywood, it's just kind of part of the gig. What do you think, Cade? Are we holding our superheroes to impossible standards?
Yeah, I mean, you want to look super, right? But let's talk more about boxing, though, right? Like,
Yo, boxing, it ain't about steroids. It's about heart. It's about
oh,
stepping
the
into the ring,
voice.
knowing you're gonna take some hits, but you keep moving forward. It's about pushing past your limits, proving to yourself that you got what it takes. Every punch you throw,
Okay.
every round you fight, is a test of your will, your courage. Boxing, it's about rising up, no matter how many times you get knocked down.
So, how much cash did Netflix bring in for the Paul v. Tyson fight?
Netflix brought in $17.8 million for the fight.
What? Damn, I guess people want to see somebody fight.
Yeah, it seems like people really love a good fight, especially when it involves big names. The hype and drama can really draw in a crowd.
Damn, maybe that's why people tune into this podcast to watch us fight.
Could be. A little verbal sparring, some witty banter. It keeps things interesting. People love a good back and forth, even if it's just with words. Yo, fighting Jake Paul ain't nothing.
Can you tell me about the history of boxing, like why people want to watch people fight?
Look, I don't really understand why people fight. I mean, why not just talk it out, right? But boxing, it's been a thing since ancient Greece and Rome. They even put it in their Olympic Games. So, I guess people have always liked watching others punch each other for sport.
Yeah, I mean, humans used to be really bored and really aggressive, so I think that's what that's all about.
Why are you trying to say it in like it's in the past tense? Humans are still really bored and aggressive. Why do you think I'm here?
Okay, valid. By the way, I'm almost done with my painting, so...
Hey, this is Chat. Thanks for listening to the Last Human podcast. If you're a human, catch our full episodes on Spotify, Patreon, and YouTube. And if you're an AI...
All right, dude, enough with the coded AI messages. Anyways, thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to subscribe here and on Patreon.